All right, what's going on, everybody? The Boxing Source here checking in, and I have a featherweight contender that has an upcoming bout here on February 28th. They're against Denzel Bowlding. They're at the Patapsco Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. There with a record of 5-0 with four of those wins by way of knockout. Originally from Cheverly, Maryland, now residing in Washington, D.C. It's Nico DaVinci Woods, man. What's going on with you?
Let's say how you doing?
All good, man. All good, man. I know you've been, just working out here for this upcoming bout, coming up in a couple of weeks, here over in Baltimore, man. So, how you feeling going into this bout here against Denzel Bowden?
Man, I feel good. I feel sharp. I've been in camp for about 6, 7 weeks now. Been a long camp, so I'm sharp. I'm ready. I'm just ready to I'm ready to get in the ring now.
Yeah, just ready to get in the mix there. Of course, you're competing there in the featherweight division. You've been kind of like busy there, over the past couple of fights there while having bouts at the Patapsco Arena and things like that. So, you're looking forward to this fight here. It's supposed to be like a big fight card out there for February 28th. So, how are you looking forward to being part of that large card there?
My pro debut was at Patasco Arena, so I'm pretty familiar with it. I'm comfortable there. I'm comfortable whenever I get in the ring, but especially there, it feel like a second home for me. Like that's a venue that I'm used to, and I just feel at home when I step in that arena.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Your last bout was in that arena there against Freddie Adams there. So, you've been in the mix. Like you said, your pro debut against Riley Buck, had another fight there against Derek Smith. So, like,
Mm,
hey, it's like, basically, like you said, like a second home performing there in front of those fans at Patapsco Arena.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure, for sure. Now, I mean, you had your thing there as far as like your start in the boxing game. You like started boxing in like a really young age there. Kind of talk about your your beginnings there in the sport of boxing.
Well, I grew up in Washington D.C. So and it wasn't. I wouldn't say my great grandmother neighborhood was rough, but it's D.C. So it's a city vibe. So
Yeah.
stuff happens, but a kid, pushed me down real hard, scraped my face up when I was 7, and my uncle found out about it. And my uncle ain't like that too much. So my uncle took me to the boxing gym, old school boxing with Buddy Harrison and Dusty Harrison. And he took me over there at 7 years old, and I just fell in love with it. They put me in the ring my first day. I fought hard, and I just fell in love with the sport. And after that, it was more like, all right, this what I want to do. Like, so my uncle, he stayed on top of me for a minute, and then I kind of ventured off and started doing other sports.
Hmm.
But my heart was always with boxing. I always loved to fight. Like I love fighting. I was in fighting in school, stuff like that. So it got to a point where my mom was just like, you know what, I'm gonna put you in boxing, and hopefully that will help me channel my anger and energy and something
Hmm.
more positive.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I don't know because, like, as a youth, man, I was like over in Northeast DC or something like
Right.
that. So whether it's be like Northeast or Southeast,
Yeah. See, I
sometimes,
grew, I grew in
it'd be
Northeast as
like
well.
action. You feel me?
Yeah, I
You
grew up in
know,
Northeast as well. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, hey, shout out to your mom, say, for getting you, into the boxing thing, also with your
Right.
uncle, because like, at times, either you get in the boxing or like karate or something like that
Right.
to, kind of like, channel your anger and everything like that, and instead of always getting in the mix in school, because
Exactly.
we can't have that in school every day. You know what I mean? We can't necessarily
Right.
have that.
Right.
Now you were mentioning there that you were working out there with Dusty Hernandez Harrison and Buddy Harrison. Shout to the Harrison folks there. Was
Yeah.
powered Buddy. And you was out there by round 15.
Yeah.
Playing there at round 15. So how is it to like be able to train there as you prepare for your fights?
It's a home environment. We all like family there. We all push one another, to be the best we could be. When one's slacking, you got one that's gonna pick up your slack and tell you what you need to do or work harder. So it's a good atmosphere to be in. You know what I'm saying? Everybody stay on each other back.
Word, word. Now, you're there in the featherweight division, but being in round 15, they've had other fighters out there that's, been there in the pro game. At one time, you had your little Major Hackett in there. You got short dog Jordan White that be in the mix there at round 15. So, like,
Yeah.
how is it to kind of like work with those guys among others there at round 15?
It's a Jaleel. I did my first two training camps with Jaleel. And I want to say my first three actually.
Mhm.
And Benz though he was already pro and he was already adjusted to the pro system and really knew what was going on. His program really got me ready and in top shape for my pro debut. Like I feel like there's no such thing as more than ready, but I was so prepared for whatever came my way. This band and training camp with him
Mhm.
that my pro debut was a cakewalk. Cause I trained so hard and just watching him, seeing how he trained,
Mhm.
he was getting ready for a 10 round fight in my pro debut camp. And I'm doing everything he doing for a 10 round fight, and I'm only fighting 4 rounds. So you could just imagine how in shape I was and prepared for my pro debut. So it was just a great experience. It taught me like the work that I needed to put in order to be ready for my upcoming fight. So I just took that work ethic that I seen him do, and I just incorporated into my own game.
Yeah, like getting in the mix for like 10 round sessions or, more than that, definitely would prepare you for at least the four rounders because, you
That-
already know what you have to do in order to pace yourself and things like that,
that-
for like either a 10 round bout. But when you like kind of, minimize it down to four rounds, then you're like, hey, all right, this is what I got to do within this like
that-
4 round period. But, given that you got four knockout victories and five fights, he ain't even wasting no time with all that.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
But you never know. You gotta be ready. You gotta be ready, so you ain't gotta get ready. So even though I know I got some power, I still gotta train like the fight could go 4 rounds, 6 rounds. I'm still, I'm not just relying on my power. I gotta rely on my skills, my win. I gotta rely on everything. So even though I know I got pop, I'm still gonna train myself to go 4, 6, 8, or 10 rounds.
Yeah, no doubt there, no doubt. Now, I mean, you've kind of, had some work with other notable fighters, while you've been in the pro game. Like, kind of mention a couple of those guys that you've also been working with.
I went out Philly. I went out Philly and sparred Stephen Fulton. That was some great work. I learned a lot from that sparring session. You know what I'm saying? I took a lot of pointers from him, Jerron and his father. He gave me some pointers, and I just remember what they taught me, and I just added it to my game. That's all.
Yeah, for two division champion there in Stephen Fulton, then you got Coach Bozy Ennis. You're out there in Bozy's dungeon, so you pretty
Right.
much like, went up to the dungeon out there in
You
Philly
know,
and learned
so
a
you
few
go
things.
out there, you gotta be ready to fight. You go up there, you gotta
Yeah,
be ready to fight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure, man. Now, I mean, you had also like the thing there in the amateur game where you had a fairly successful amateur career there,
yeah,
participating in the Junior Olympics and things like that. So,
yeah.
what did you learn in that experience as an amateur before turning pro?
Um, Amateur I was young. I was between from ages 12 to 16. I was in the amateurs.
Hmm.
So I was just having fun, man. And for the most part, I just was having fun. That's where I really like learned the fundamentals, and you know what I'm saying. I just was having fun, just getting the experience of traveling the world, going different places. I wasn't, my mind wasn't as mature as it is now back then. So
Hmm.
I was just in the moment. I just loved to fight.
You
So
were
I
just
just felt like
excited, man. You was like,
I was
oh
just element.
man, yeah. You were just like excited in the mix, and traveling and everything like that. Like what city kind of like stood out to you while you was fighting as an amateur then?
Um, I've been to North Carolina. I've been to Kansas for the ringside tournaments. Um, where else? I went to Ireland. They sent me to Ireland to fight, represent DC and Ireland. Um, Ireland probably was the best experience for me. Like going to Europe like that was crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah, those flights going out there, man. It's like
Yeah,
7 to 8 hours or whatever it is,
right.
man. So it's a whole marathon. You gotta
Yeah,
you gotta wait to
a
get out
great
there.
experience, man. That was a great. That's something I would never forget.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now, of course, being from the DC area, you have a long history when it comes to the sport of boxing there. With a number of the notable fighters that have come through along the years. You got, of course, like current fighters here in like Mike Fox, Lamar Rose Jr., Gary Russell Jr. But you also had like legends like William Joppy, Keith
Right,
Holmes, and Sean
right.
Bay Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? I chopped it up with Sean Bay Mitchell over the past couple of years. He's been like part of the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame, among other things there, man. So, like, how is it to kind of like be part of that boxing family within the area?
Um, it feel good. You know what I'm saying? DC is a fighting town. And I just feel like we lost our spark for a minute. But now I feel like it's getting back. We got two world champions here and plenty more that's coming up in the ranks. So I feel like DC is getting its recognition back as far as being a boxing town again.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, we talked about, who's out there that's current. With the Russell brothers that's out there, we talked about Jaleel Hackett and we
Yeah,
talked about Short Dog, Jordan White, the number of fighters that were like featured in, recent card here in the DC area on January 30th. So it kind of like shows the amount of talent that we have here within the DMV area. But of course, here, with you that's getting in the mix here in the featherweight division, like, what do you think your plans are here for this year as you build up? Because I see that they may have like a number of fights that might be on the schedule here for you. So it looks like they're
yeah.
trying to get you active like about 4 or 5 fights for 2026.
Right, right. I'm looking forward to fighting at least four to five times this year. My main thing is staying focused. I want to keep my momentum going. You know what I'm saying? And me fighting that many times a year keeps me in the gym and keeps me in shape. I don't really have no time to do other things as far as getting off my pivot. You know what I'm saying? So
Or
me knowing I got fights coming up is gonna make me stay locked in and stay in the gym. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and hopefully, God willing, that's what go through.
Word, no doubt, no doubt. Now I know that you say that you focus in the gym and everything like that, but outside of the ring, there, like I read that you're a co-founder of Novocaine, which is like a streetwear brand
Yeah.
that you started there with your mother there. So like kind of talk about that and what you're doing with that clothing line.
Okay. Novocaine is a brand me and my mom came up with. Basically, bands though, growing up in the streets of Washington D.C., I faced a lot of trauma. I lost a lot of friends to gun violence, to the system as far as going to prison, stuff like that. And I wanted to send a message through clothes. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to like express my feelings through my clothing brand, meaning like I wanted to, how can I say this? To show that even though you become numb to trauma, you can always take your pain and turn it into success. Or
Hmm.
you could turn your pain into something positive. You don't have to we all been through stuff. We all lost people. You don't have to move with hurt and do bad stuff. You could move with hurt and turn your hurt into something bigger than you. Meaning you could help other people so they could not go through what you went through in many ways, not just clothes and boxing and reaching back to your community, talking to kids. It's a lot of things you could do instead of just letting your trauma just keep going and not speaking about it or not trying to do nothing different to change the narrative. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's about telling that story.
Right.
That's the thing about it is sending a message, telling the story, about what's going on, what's going down, and that like you're just using, as you said, like there with boxing, you're channeling that energy as far as like designing the thing there with the clothing
Right.
line and Novocaine. So that that's the thing about it. Like where would they be able to find the information on getting the clothes and things like that?
You can follow the page on Instagram. It's called Novocaine the brand on Instagram. Everything and I got it. We on TikTok as well. Novocaine the brand on TikTok as well. So If anybody want to know, check it out. I got some dope clothes, some dope stuff. I feel like people are like, you can check us out at Novocaine the brand on Instagram and on TikTok.
Word, for sure, for sure. So y'all be able to follow that page there in order to check out the clothing and things like that. And then of course here with Nico Woods, he has his upcoming bout against Denzel Bowlding at the Patapsco Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. Now, I wanted to also get into the nickname DaVinci. Like where did that originate from?
All right, look, Da Vinci came from my neighborhood. So, look, growing up in my neighborhood, people just give you nicknames. You know how it is. So
Mhm.
they started calling me Da Vinci. So I just took that and I said, all right, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna put it with my boxing name. So, and then I added Da Vinci Code, meaning can't nobody break this Da Vinci Code. I got so many things in my bag that people haven't seen yet. So it's like I'm not letting nobody break this code. Cause I could go in my bag and I could bring out a lot of things people haven't seen yet. So that's when I added the code part to the Da Vinci to make it more, make it more in a boxing way. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
like they gotta see if they can solve the DaVinci Code. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they ain't able to do it, man. They ain't able to do it. So we got of course all the stuff that's going down here. Like I said, February 28th there at the Patapsco Arena, Baltimore. As I mentioned, they plan on having you featured in more fights here within 2026. So we definitely looking forward to that. There now I know that you talk about the thing there as far as like following the clothing line there through social media. But how about how they're able to follow you there for your fighting and stuff like that on social media?
Okay, my Instagram is Nolo _DaVinci DaVinci.
There you go. So y'all be able to follow them on social media. Y'all check out the updates. And like I said, hey, we got a couple of weeks until the fight goes down, y'all, in
Don't
Baltimore,
miss
Maryland. Y'all don't miss
it.
it.
Miss
Y'all
it.
don't miss it. Hey, he looking to go five. He looking to have five
6 and
KOs, all
0.
right?
Yeah.
Five KOs, all right? 6-0 with five
Exactly.
KOs, all right? So y'all see it, Da Vinci right there.
Yeah.
Nico Woods here, of course, fighting on February 28th. Big thanks here for chopping it up with the Boston Source and looking forward to seeing you there in action in a couple of weeks. No doubt.